we'll kind of do a little walkthrough. All right, everyone, can you guys see the form in front of you here?
Yeah, we can.
Okay, yep. So I'm going to just pull up the basic one. And what I would like to do is, so Kaya and I you have one now. Melissa and Markia, I'll explain kind of what I can do to help you create one. This is essentially brand new. And what I've decided to do is I have a master one that I called PC Systems Do Not Edit. And every person, my goal is for every person to have their own copy of this. So I'll make a copy, I'll title it, Markia Smith Systems or something. And then you will have a custom systems packet. And there's a number of places that we can put some of your specific business plan metrics, and everything else will auto-populate so that there's just a much better understanding of how to build that foundation for your business. Okay, so I just want to take a minute and go through kind of the journey of the tabs, if you will. Okay, now one of the first things that I will typically encounter is when somebody says, or when I would say, hey, tell me a little bit about your goals for your business, right? Is there a certain number of families that you'd like to help, or is there a certain number of dollars that you're hoping to earn, right? 90% of the time, easily, maybe more than 90% of the time, the person says, oh, I want to make 100 grand. And then I might say, well, is that gross or is that net? Is that pre-tax or post-tax, right? And oftentimes they actually don't know the answer. And I think we're just kind of conditioned to think that, that's just kind of a nice number to throw out there. Problem with that is that's not clear enough, okay? First of all, oftentimes we're just trying to, quote, pay our bills, right? And what it doesn't allow for is it doesn't allow for us to intentionally kind of dream and strategize with ourselves and those that are closest to us, right? Our spouse or family members or whoever, to make certain that remember, the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. Many people have not even thought about what the perfect life is, okay? And I would venture to say that paying your bills is not the perfect life, right? I think there's a moment in everyone's world where they had this kind of epiphany, if you will, that says, if I get a real estate license, my lifestyle or my quality of life can look this way. And then they go through classes and they start and they realize that it's probably a whole lot different than they expected it to be. And then they kind of have this realization of, wow, I don't know if I can do this. Or they have a different realization that says, oh my gosh, I can make $100,000 before the end of the week, right? I mean, we literally have, I'm sitting here looking at the reports from the month that we just transmitted, right? And just so you guys know, I mean, I'm not quite prepared to give you all the numbers, but there are people that are making, I mean, here's an agent that made $180,000 this month, y'all. Another agent, $33,000 a month, $50,000 a month, $43,000 a month, $35,000 a month, $34,000 a month, $23,000, $32,000, $85,000. As a buyer's agent, by the way, $105,000. So I think that some people get into the business and they say to themselves, oh my gosh, this is so hard, blah, 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 blah. And they, quite frankly, they don't get the results they were dreaming of. And there's other people that say, oh my gosh, that guy can't be a whole lot smarter than me. I guess I'll just do what they do and I'll make 100 too, right? And so the whole point of all this stuff is to create systems that's going to give you the foundational structure so that everything becomes easier and more organized and more efficient and trackable. Okay, so what I've decided to do is basically just build it and then share it with you. And so this is a combination of some stuff that I've created, some stuff that I've taken from others. And when somebody comes in and they say, well, I don't know what to do. When you say build systems, I don't even know what you're talking about, right? So this is really designed to help you clarify what all that means. And you can very quickly see how much potential this business really has, and what kind of opportunities you can provide for you and your family and your team members and all the people that care about you and rely on you, so that they can have an incredible life, right? So the first thing that we want to do is essentially re-verify that what we think is our goal is in fact our goal, right? And so this first document here is called the Life by Design form. And it separates, oh, by the way, everything in yellow is a cell that you can change, and everything in white and black is where the formulas are, and that's where the will pre-populate according to how you make adjustments, okay? So there's a few different breakdowns of the Life by Design form. The first, I'm going to skip over profit for 1 second intentionally, and I'll come back to it. But we want to have our personal expenses. So we basically have a personal budget here. And on the left-hand side, I gave some examples of what would be included in that, right? House payment, food, groceries, utilities, pets, tuition, auto bills, life insurance, medical bills, health insurance, disability insurance, entertainment, hobbies, lifestyle, personal reserves, these kind of things. And we identify, is it easier to think about this from a monthly expense standpoint or an annual expense standpoint? Most of which I said monthly. So for example, if I wanted to spend 2,000 on food instead of 1,500, it auto-populates the changeover on the annual side, okay? It seemed a little bit more, in my mind, I typically pay my car insurance in one amount during the full year to get a little discount. So I put it over here, for example. So instead of 3,500, maybe it's 2,500 for you. Okay, and that'll adjust the monthly over here. So everything auto adjust. So we need to obviously pay our personal expenses. Next thing we're going to pay is our business cost of sale. Okay, cost of sale, remember, is any fee that is associated with a sale, right? So for example, productivity coaching is a cost of sale because you don't pay the fee until there's a sale. Okay. Hiring a photographer to take pictures of your new listing, you're going to have to pay the photographer regardless of whether the listing sells. So that is a business expense. Okay, so we identify the cost of sales here, these market center cap, royalty, coaching, FMLS, team splits, that kind of thing. And in each of these divisions, what we're trying to create here is how many, first of all, what is the total expense? Then you say to yourself, well, how many dollars do I make per sale, right? So let's say your average commission check is, let's say, $10,000. So if my total expenditures is 36,000, well, actually, let me explain it slightly differently. In this example, the total expenditures per year is 28,000. Then we have to add back in taxes. I put a 30% tax bracket, which means the total outlay for taxes is 8,400. So if you add the two together, that's 36,400. I get an average commission check of 10 grand, which means I need 4 sales in order to pay for all that. Make sense? Then we go down to our business expenses. And in this example, we need 8 sales to pay for our business expenses. We add all this up. I understand, it'll vary for you, right? And in this example, we need to sell 35 sales and we need to make $351,000. Okay. Now, what we haven't talked about yet is profit. Okay, so profit.
Hey, Bill, I'm going to say real quick on where the portion that you just came from with the percentages.
Yeah.
Where did you get those numbers from?
Let me come back to that. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. So generally speaking, what the way somebody will generally run their business is they will, this is a little informal way of explaining it, but they basically try real hard. They try to be, a little conservative with their expenditures, and whatever's left is the money they have to lead their lifestyle. And hopefully there weren't any major issues along the way and they didn't rack up a bunch of debt over the course of the year. And not only is that a big issue, there's no profit there, right? So I'm going to recommend that you do the exact opposite, which is you say, hey, the purpose of business is to fund the perfect life. And therefore, what does the perfect life require? Not only do I have to pay these expenses, both personal and business, I also need to pay my cost of sale, but I also want there to be some significant profit too, right? So just an example here, and up here would be things like a down payment on an investment home, or buying some stock, or going on a vacation, or getting out of debt, or making a donation to charity, or putting some business reserves in place, right? So putting some money aside for a business investment, right? Maybe putting some money aside for family reunion, or MAPS coaching, or paying for some type of software that's going to make stuff easier, right? Or reinvesting into my business, these kind of things, right? So in this example, I just need 4 extra sales in order to fund all that. So the goal is you identify what profit you need in order to pay for the things that you desire. And then you say, okay, well, if I add that amount of profit to the expenditures for my business and my personal life and my cost of sale, my business has got to sell 35 homes, or I either need to trim my something, right? My business expenses, my personal expenses, my profit or investment, or my cost of sale. Something's got to be trimmed. So rather than saying, I think I have time to sell 20, you might say, I got to sell 35 to pull all this off. So who do I need to become in order to sell 35? Or who do I need to get into business with to sell 35? Or do I need to make a hire in order to sell 35, right? Because if you don't come at it from the intentionality of saying, my lifestyle requires this, and so I need a plan around that, rather than saying, I think 1 a month seems reasonable, and running that play. So the whole point of this Life by Design form is a few things. One is to start helping you think bigger, right? And to really dream about what's possible here, right? I mean, is it possible to make 20 grand in a month?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is it possible to make 40 grand in a month?
Absolutely.
Have either of you ever made 40 grand in a month?
No.
It is possible though, right?
I think it's so easily possible that I almost don't even think about it.
Oh my gosh.
Like, I don't think about it. It
Melissa,
literally.
today is the day that I just feel like such a proud papa around you today. This is you're big time impressing me, and I have so much gratitude for the ability to watch you do what you're doing right now. I just cannot wait. This is going to be awesome.
No, but in all reality, like in my head, like one closing a week is literally not, it's just not crazy. And that would probably get you your 40 easily.
Yeah, and a lot more most likely, right? So the point of this is to start thinking bigger, and to start thinking about all the organizations and all the families and all the things that you can have or do or contribute to with the life that you actually design, right? And so we're also confirming that the numbers that we plug into the economic model are appropriate, okay? So with all that said, I'll walk you through all the tabs, and then I'll go back, I'll turn off the recorder, and then I'll do one for each of you real quickly, okay? So the next tab is the plan, okay? Now, what we did here is I took the Gene Rivers business plan from his session on Facebook a week or 2 ago, and I just have the download here, right? I'm just trying to make everything easy for you guys, okay? Here's a copy of the foundational GPS. Here is some thoughts on how to set up the GPS, business GPS examples, a blank GPS, right? A place where you identify the 3 ways that you want to generate leads, right? Melissa, if you were to come to me and say, Bill, I'm never making a cold call. Can I make it in real estate? I don't want to make cold calls. Okay, great. So what other ways would you like to generate leads so that you can hit the appropriate number of appointments so you can have the life that you want to have, right? So if somebody comes to me and says, I don't want to make calls, or I don't want to cold call. All right, great. So based on all the other strategies that you are interested in doing, are you on target for the appropriate number of appointments? And if you're not, then I'm going to encourage you to do one of 2 things. Either press harder on the ones you like, or be open to adding a few others to your world. Because if you don't have a reality check, you won't make the type of money you want to make. So how do you feel about that? Is that going to be acceptable to you? Right? Because some of these people have goals that are very emotional, right? It might be something like, well, I struggled with student loan debt for 20 years and I just paid off my student loan debt and I want to make enough money and put enough money aside where my kids never have to have student loan debt. Okay, great. Well, all you got to do is show up every day and run the play. And if you don't run the play, then your kids will have student loan debt. How do you feel about that? You see what I'm saying? So what I'm going to encourage you guys to do is to try to attach some of this to very emotional topics, because there will be down days in this business, and you gotta pick up your head, right? You gotta go listen to something that's going to make you happy, right? Take a break, whatever you need to do. But if we don't get you back on track, something is going to give, right? So this is just a really quick glance at capping, right? Would you like to cap in 12 months? Okay, cool. You just need a 6-unit plan per year. You're going to talk to 852 people over the whole year. And if you work 220 days out of the year, you simply got to talk to 4 people a day. If you talk to 4 people a day, you should book enough appointments, hold enough appointments, take enough listings, close enough deals, and you will be a capper fairly, right? You'll sell 6 homes. And I'm not judging that. I'm just saying that is the way to sell 6 homes. Okay. If you want to sell 12 homes, you're likely going to cap in 6 months. And all you got to do is talk to 8 people a day. If you'd like to cap in 3 months, you're going to sell 24 homes. You're going to talk to 16 people a day. And if you want something in between any of those numbers, you'll see how it all, calculates out here in a moment. Okay. So what I've designed here is basically a, literally the foundation, right? Okay, now we go to the economic model. Okay, so in this example, I've got this particular person would have 12 sales. Average sale price is $350, average buyer price is $350. They'd take 3% on each side. Half of their business would be sellers, half buyers. So they do 6 of each. That's 12 sales for a total of 126 grand in GCI, 4.2 million in volume. Here's some conversion ratios. Remember, everything in yellow can be changed. So I have the conversion ratios of seller appointment to listing taken, 65%. Seller taken to close, 65%. Buyer appointment to taken, 65, and buyer taken to close, 65. If you think the number is different for you because of your tracking, right? You've confirmed that your rates are better or worse or whatever, then use your numbers, right? But in the meantime, I would suggest that you use these numbers, okay? Now, in this example, and I know you guys have heard me say this, but I think that I would venture to say that both of you are in a spot where you are probably getting more and more confidence by the day, and realizing that the very first day we spoke about money and plans and dreams and all that, I would venture to say that both of you are prepared to push those a little bit. So I think this is a good revisit of these tools. Okay, so if this person is going to pull off this plan, you just simply have to go on 16 seller appointments over the course of the next 12 months. You'll take 10 of them. Notice how I said you'll take 10 rather than you'll get 10. When you take 10, you remind yourself that you are the one that will choose if you get the deal, right? Just because somebody invited you into their home and is considering selling doesn't mean that you're going to enjoy being intimately involved with them for a couple of months. Make sense? You with me?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to go on 16. We're going to take 10. We're going to close 6. We're going to do the same thing for buyers because the ratios are the same. So that's a total of 32 appointments, taking 20, closing 10. So this right here is basically all that matters. I mean, this is really the end of the day. And this number right here is probably the single most important number of your business. What?
Oh, sorry. I thought I was on mute. I'm talking to my son.
That's okay. So if we add those two up, we multiply by or divide by 12 and round up, we're going on 3 appointments a month. We're going to take 2 listings a month, and we're going to close 1 sale a month. Okay. And this is part of a plan that I've discussed called what I've called the 4-3-2-1 plan. Set 4, hold 3, take 2, close 1. Make sense? If I were to say, Markia, how's business? The very first thing that you should be asking yourself, let's just assume this was your plan for a second, is have I taken my 2 listings this month? If you've taken your 2 listings this month, everything else is probably going to be fine. If you have not taken your 2 listings this month, more than likely, almost guarantee you're not going to hit your goals. Your business is going to live and die by looking at this one number. Have I taken 2 listings this month? Period. It's that important. Okay. So then the question becomes is, do I have enough people in my pipeline that I'm in courtship with in order to get 2 people to agree to work with me exclusively? Or for me to determine which of my prospects I will elect or which 2 I will elect to get into business with this month. Okay. All right. Next topic. We believe that there is a relationship between the number of contacts that you are going to have and the number of appointments that you will hold. It's not time sensitive, but it's every time that you have 60 contacts, you should be able to hold an appointment. Okay. And because of our conversion rates, we can also extrapolate out how many contacts do I need to have at closing. And in this example, it's 142. Okay, well, based on the fact we're going to close 12, we simply need 1,704 contacts in the next 12 months. Okay, y'all don't want to work 12 months, I'm assuming, because you want a life worth living. So we're going to work 11 months. If that's the case, you just need to talk to 155 people per month. Now, we also don't want to work every day, again, because we want a life worth living. We got other things that we want to spend our time with, right? So I said you're going to work 20 out of 20 of the days of the month. If that's the case, you simply need to speak to 8 people a day. You speak to 8 people a day, you ought to take 2 listings a month. Everything else will fall into place. So then I went a little further and I said, well, every time I make a commission check, I earn a commission check, I make $10,500 based on these prices here. So if I know how many contacts I need in order to have a closing, then I can also determine how much I get paid in order to have a contact. In this example, it's $74. Does that change the way that you approach meeting people in your town, right? In your community? I think it should. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, for example, if I wanted to change this to 25, everything reformulates. So now I'm making 262. I now need to take 3 listings per month, and I need to speak to 16 people a day. Make sense? So you can see how everything changes. All right, so let's go to the rocks. The rocks has a couple of kind of tracking visuals, okay? In a nutshell, it shows you how many daily contacts do I need, how many monthly appointments do I need, how many listings taken, closings. My recommendation to all y'all has pretty much always been, let's see if we can add 60 people to the database per month. So you work 20 days, that's 3 a month, or I'm sorry, 3 a day. And 20 people to the pipeline per month, that's 1 a day. So a phenomenal day in real estate, okay? Phenomenal day. And this could happen by like 9:30 in the morning, okay? Is you find 3 people that you did not know When you woke up, get them in the database, and hopefully one will have a goal to buy or sell or transact in any way in the next 12 months. Boy, if you just did that every day, you wouldn't even know what to do with all the money you'd make. Okay. This right here is a opportunity for you to say, well, what is the target of my database size? Remember, we heard today in bold, 16 for every 16 people we have in our database, we should have one sale. Local Mets. So for this person, they need 192 people in the database. The yellow is where you can put in your number. Let's say your number is 85. All right, you got a gap of 107. How quickly are we going to fill that gap? See what I'm saying? Pipeline. Pipeline is people that are within 12 months of making a real estate, doing a deal, right? Buyers, sellers, investors, whatever. I've always suggested 3 times the number of sales that your goal is to have. So in this example, 12 is a pipeline of 36 people. 36 people, you should have a running visual pipeline of 36 people. If I were to say, Melissa, how many people are you currently aware of that you believe will transact in the next 12 months? And you were to say 8, with all due respect, you're not going to sell 12 homes this year. You're going to need to get that number up. You see what I'm saying? So if you can just simply focus on adding to that list and loving on those people and giving them whatever they want, right? First of all, they're not all going to do what they say they're going to do. Their time frames are going to be moved back and postponed and moved up and changed, and somebody's going to be born and somebody's going to die and somebody's going to get married and somebody's going to get divorced or whatever. You want to make sure that you have some cushion in there for those that are not going to do what they said they're going to do, right? Because if you say, I want to close 12 sales and you got 12 people in the pipeline, you're not going to close 12 sales, I promise you, right? So you got to give yourself a little cushion, okay? So if you put in your pipeline here, you might say, well, how many am I lacking? And what is my plan to get 28 people into my pipeline ASAP, okay? You can use this model here to track daily, weekly, monthly, whatever you want to do. This is exactly what we track on the tracker. Just a friendly reminder now and for anyone else that watches this in the future, please track your numbers, please. Okay, 0 is a number. We're here to run successful businesses. The language of real estate is numbers. You gotta keep score, guys. Gotta keep score. Okay. Wouldn't the Braves game have been pretty boring last night if no one was keeping score? Right?
Not a fan.
You're not an Astros fan, are you?
No way.
You're not.
Look, when I had to choose, I had to choose the Braves. Let's be honest.
What are you, a Yankees fan or a Mets fan?
No, unfortunately, a born and raised Islander Met fan.
All right, I'm gonna mute you now. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay, so I would encourage you to keep score, right? Keep score every day. How are you doing, right? We can't pay our bills with evidence that we went to a bunch of classes, right? We can only pay our bills with results. So if you're not getting the results you want, you have to investigate the work that you've done or not done, right? And let's just step right into reality and say, is this working or is this not working? And if it's not working, let's talk, because something is going off, right? Either you're not spending your money properly, you're not spending your time properly, you're not saying the right thing, you're not saying it often enough, you're not saying it the right way, etc. Make sense? You can come off mute, Melissa. It's just a moment penalty for being a Mets fan, okay?
It's okay. I've been dealing with it my whole life.
Yeah, I bet. Here's a tool called the 5 conversations. Okay, this is even more of a summary than what I asked you to report each week, right? Appointments held, listings taken, closings, GCI, and profit. This is kind of like, okay, so let's say you go to the doctor and it's your annual physical. So you get on the scale and they weigh you and they record what you weigh. They see how tall you are and they record that, and they take your blood pressure and they record that. And if it's your annual checkup, they probably take some blood and they look at the stats, right? And I want you to picture the results of all of that on this little scorecard here. Okay, the scorecard is designed to identify if there are other challenges that need to be addressed, right? Oh my gosh, I'm with 3 women here, so I'll just call on Steve. Okay, so Steve, he weighed, 175 pounds 3 years ago and 170 pounds 2 years ago, and he weighed 180 pounds last year, and the dude weighs 450 this year. Okay, we got some problems we probably want to evaluate. We want some further tests, right? So we look at, this is like our quick glance at what is the generalized health of our business. If we identify the fact that, I don't know, let's say we've held 25 appointments and taken 4 listings, I'd say we have an issue that we need to discuss, right? If we have gone on 25 appointments and we've taken 23 listings, but we have 4 closings, we have a different issue that needs to be addressed, right? Well, what if we've had 20 sales, but we've only made $100,000? Probably means that our price point is not ideal, right? So the goal of all of this is to have a quick glance at the status and health of your business to help us understand where are the coaching moments. Follow that? All right, here's some notes on calendaring. We've talked a lot about having a week at a glance view. We've talked a little bit about having a month at a glance view, right? Because you're always going to have stuff going on, right? There's going to be Bold and family reunion and the kids teacher work day, and the kids are at home that day, so you can't work as much, or you're taking a long weekend, or it's a holiday, or it's Thanksgiving, or it's New Year's, or whatever. Like, you're almost never going to work 30, 31 days out of the month, right? So it's always helpful, I think, at the beginning of the month to say, hey, according to my outside of real estate obligations, looks like I'm only going to be able to work 17 days this month. So I need to do all this in 17 days. And so during the 17 days that you're working, give it your all, like be all in. And on the days that you're not working, be all out. Y'all follow me? So this helps you understand kind of right off the bat, what is the amount of time that I have to accomplish the things I need to accomplish, right? We've also talked about how we control our schedule, right? So I've shown you, like, I have a, one of these kind of binders for my day specific or week specific tasks, but I have my calendar, right? Google, like, that's not a very good look at it, but my Google Cal for, my time commitments, right? So if I say, Melissa, I'll call you tomorrow, that would go here because I didn't tell you what time I'd call you. If I say, Melissa, I'm going to call you at 3, that's an appointment. It goes right there. And I'm sitting here staring at both of these all day long, which, by the way, the presupposition is you're actually at work, right? You have a workstation, right? You are like, you just feel you're going to accomplish more if you're at work, if you will, right? If you try to run your business from the couch in the middle of your house, oh my gosh, you're just going to get distracted all day, right? Come to work, have your screens in front of you, right? Know what you're supposed to focus on every day. Give it an honest day's work, okay? Okay. So I've got a couple of examples of a not intentional schedule, an intentional schedule, right? I said, look, if you want to send a draft of your calendar to me and I'll give you some feedback on it, please do so. A daily success tracker and links to the recording pages. Okay, here's some thoughts on database, right? Who should I add? How many people should I have in there? A database memory jogger, some suggested tags. How often should I review? How often should I be calling, right? There's some notes on that. I know that I've recommended a pipeline that kind of looks something like this, let's say, a visual pipeline that's staring you in the face every day, right? So on this page, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 people in the pipeline. So based on my math, I should sell 4 homes this year. So if I sit down at my workspace and I look at this and I have a goal to sell, let's say 15 homes this year, it ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. I need to add people to this form or I'm fooling myself, right? Okay, so I have a video here called What is a Pipeline that'll kind of guide you through how to set it all up. I've got target size is 3 times the number of units you want to sell, which actually I'm going to make a formula out of that really quickly while I'm thinking about it. Okay, so that will auto populate. Okay, and you can pop in your prospects here, numbers, notes, whatever helps you visualize seeing it. Okay, I know some of this we've gone through on the morning huddles, but I'll quickly go through this again. Seller checklist, right? Everything in bold is something that I believe is a task to be performed by the real estate assistant, and everything in regular font is a task that should be performed by you. As you both all 3 know, if you don't have an assistant, you are the assistant. And I just want you to understand when you're working as the assistant, because a high-powered, organized, well-structured, focused realtor probably worth somewhere in the neighborhood of around $300 to $400 an hour. The second you divert your attention and go put a listing in the system or go install a sign, you're worth $10 to $12 an hour. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say you'd be better off spending that time doing the 5 things that agents do, right? Lead gen, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating, practicing, and let everyone else do the other stuff. Okay, but as we know, every task that comes at you, you basically only got 2 ways to handle it. You can either handle it with your time, right, which is essentially what you guys are doing right now, or you can handle it with your money. And your money is basically just representative of somebody else's time, right? I will pay you $40 to mow the grass. Make sense? So we got sellers, we got a buyer checklist, we got some tips on the 411, okay, and a blank version. Got some transaction management tips and tools, right? Some recommendations here are creating duplicate files for your client systems or client files in Google Drive, making sure you can access everything digitally on your telephone, keeping records of all the closed transactions and all the executed contracts and all that for it all. Pre-transaction, this is like kind of a little snapshot of some things that you can focus on, right? Prospects, these are people that you are flirting with a little bit more often, yet have not signed an agency agreement. And this could be like a whiteboard or something, right? Then as soon as they sign the agency agreement, now they're a client. And then you're just moving them over to the pending, right? So you're a prospect, now you're a client, now you're a pending. And then at all times, you kind of can give a quick glance at that board to say, hey, do I have enough prospects here? Do I have enough pendings to pay all my bills, right? It's a very quick glance. Hey, how's my business? Healthy or not healthy? Okay. During the transaction, here's and I know Command can do a lot of this. I'm just showing you a few other things, okay? This is an example of a tracking system for current transactions, right? So you can create a spreadsheet that says like client, address, seller, buyer, binding date, due diligence date, financing contingency, appraisal contingency, lender, attorney, closing date. And you got a real clean look at everything that's going on in the deal and when the deadlines are. Post-transaction, you can keep a spreadsheet of that too. That would be something like close date, address, seller, buyer, source of lead, sales price, GCI, and how the money was all split up, okay? We have our 8-week plan, and little by little, we're gonna be adding some more resources here. And we added little check boxes so that you can identify when you have done that stuff, Okay. Archaea, probably a good idea just to scan this list real fast and make sure that everything on there is something that you've navigated and completed. And if there's something that you don't understand or need some clarity on, obviously reach out to me. And then for the Jaleesa and Melissa, this is kind of the curriculum, if you will, for your conversations with Candace at the very beginning. Okay, here's a little tool for client info sheet. So you can create one of these for every file that you have. So you know things like all the contact information of all the lender, attorney, buyer's agent, listing agent, all the details and summary of the contract, right? What's the sales price? What's the contract date? What's the binding date? What's the FMLS number? That kind of stuff. Here's where your answer, Melissa, is to the question you asked me earlier, which is this is the financial spreadsheet. So we have a breakdown of, well, first of all, we have GCI, then we have a breakdown of cost of sale, compensation, lead gen, business expenses, profit, calculated line by line and month by month. And then the MREA 2 budget model for $150,000 of income breaks it down right here with the suggested best practice ratios. For 340,000, slightly different. That's over here too. And then it breaks down when I say professional services, what does that even mean, right? When I say occupancy, what does that even mean, right? So it gives you some examples of what types of things would fall into those categories. I know I'm going fast. Follow up. Follow up. So here is create a system to track every file that you're currently working, right? What I used to have is a single sheet of paper. Picture this as a single sheet of paper. And, you know, in the middle, I put the person's name, number, and email. On the left-hand side, I put where did I get the lead from? When did I get it? What notes have I made from our conversations, right? And what tasks have I done for them? And what did I learn, right? So I might say, hey, looked at 3 homes incoming, learned that they don't want a 2-story family room. Okay, so don't ever show them a home with a 2-story family room ever again. Okay, and this became kind of my pseudo file for them. And if I started to show them some homes, I'd clip that in there. And then once I felt like I was going to get paid, I gave them a manila folder. And I used to carry around a bunch of manila folders of the people who I thought I was about to get paid for. And then I had a folder of all the people who hadn't earned a folder yet. Make sense? And then that became my like call list, more or less. I thumb through it every day and say, oh, I haven't spoken to that person in a while. I haven't done anything for that person in a while, right? And that was my visual reminder of what I had to do. Here's some stuff on social media. Reminds you about some of the primary social media sites and gives you a little checklist here. Number 1 is, do I have the account? Number 2, is it updated? Number 3, is it appropriate? And number 4, is there a defined strategy of what I'm trying to accomplish on this platform, right? So like TikTok obviously is different than LinkedIn, right? What I mean by appropriate is this is a little controversial, okay? I get this. You're free to say whatever you want online. You're also, the public is free to decide if they want to do business with you based on how you communicate with the public, right? So, you know, I'm just going to encourage you guys to not be incredibly opinionated online with things that are controversial, right? If all you post about is anti-vax stuff, you're going to piss a lot of people off, right? It's your choice, but don't be surprised if people elect not to work with you based on that, right? If all your pictures of you taking, you know, keg stands and, in your string bikini, don't be surprised if you get a lot of guys that call you and say, hey, let's go look at some homes, right? And then they never buy anything. Make sense? Y'all with me? Already lost one, I guess, right? All right, so let's think. Well, what does our brand represent? What's my mission of the business? And is this clearly communicated to my audience? Remember, guys, social media is not just about bragging about yourself. It's about showing that you're a hard worker, a person of integrity. You want to focus on the consumer, not bragging about you, right? So there's ways to say that you just had a sale outside of saying, hey, I just got paid, right? And remember, a successful social media presence is going to, there's really 2 points. One, is it going to generate leads? And secondly, it's going to generate interaction, right? So if you're not getting any leads from social media and you're not getting any interaction from social media, you're basically not doing anything. You think you are, but it's not doing anything. Okay, so this is just some suggestions on what a social media standard might be. Like, we do this every Sunday, we do this every Monday, we do this every Tuesday, right? Please don't put your passwords here, but I'm going to recommend that you have a system, like a master list of, this website has this username and this password, right? Pre-qualification, we've gone over this a little bit this week. Here's the pre-listing package example, seller pre-qualification script, buyer intake sheet, growth plan, right? Growth is achieved through intentionality. What are your specific intentions to learn, read, and attend each month, right? So I just put it out there every month. And what am I intentionally going to do to become a better fill in the blank, right? Better realtor, better mom, better dad, better brother, better sister, better grandparent, right? Better colleague, right? Better friend, right? What am I going to learn? What system am I going to master, etc. And then lastly, we'll end with this, is routines. So here's just an example of a bunch of things that you might consider doing every single day, right? Every single day I do 50 sit-ups, or every single day I kiss my wife and tell her I love her. Every single day I, read a book to my kid. Every single day I congratulate all my friends on LinkedIn about their new job. Every single day I spend 3 minutes looking at the new market stats of, for the last 2 days or whatever. Every week, here's some stuff that you might consider doing every week. Here's some stuff that you might consider doing every month. And here's some stuff that you might be consider doing every quarter. Okay. So with all that said, is that pretty cool, guys, or no? Michelle Slater told me I could sell that for about $20,000. I'll sell it to you guys for 10. What do you think?
You can have 10% of my closings.
You're smart. I like that. I like that. I knew you were from New York. All right. So with all that in mind, I want to make what I'd like for you to do is give me an initial number. Okay. Give me a number of dollars that you want to gross this year, or let's say 2022. And I will double check our MREA doc, and then I will create a systems doc for you and pre-plug in those numbers. And then when you get it, I want you to fill out the quality of life page, or I'm sorry, the life by design page, and that you'll use that as a way of re-verifying the number, and then we can re-verify our plan. Okay. I hope this was helpful, you guys. Obviously, I'm sure there's a trillion questions. Just shout them out at me and we'll go from there. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
This is great. Love that sheet, Bill. Thank you.
All right. Y'all have a wonderful day.